Hey you Mexicans, welcome back to this new video where today we're going to be looking at a scenario where all the WICSO alliances of modern day WICSO come into the modern world. So we have the Mesopotamian Alliance, the North African Alliance, the Square Team over here, which is the Eastern European Alliance, the Unitarian Alliance, and then of course finally the Trapezoid Alliance. So first up, we see that after the loss of South China, China itself, the regime, collapses. Collapses as heck. And so, with that being said, China is now in this color. And so now it will be ultimately decided to partition some of it. Or actually, some of it will just be... No one partitions it. Okay, no. It's going to be independent, but there's going to be a lot of countries. You'll see. But this part falls, and not only does China collapse, but Myanmar does too. Geez, I wonder why. And that, in this part, just, yeah. So yeah, Myanmar and China collapsed. Myanmar collapsed because of not even existing. So, yeah. We're going to be looking at this resolution now. So, yeah. China is no longer powerful and pretty weakened as Xinjiang and Tibet declare independence. Okay, so anyway, in the peace treaty, yeah, all that happens, and, well, yeah. There is one more thing that happens, though. That is, the Trapezoid Alliance here, it doesn't exist anymore. Because the only reason why the Trapezoid Alliance existed was because of Red Australia, and since Red Australia isn't in this world, it can't really exist. So instead of the Trapezoid Alliance existing, we just see Vietnam doing this. Yeah. Hard to believe that these two were even in an alliance anyway. But, yeah. That hurts. And peace treaty-wise, yup. Full annexation. So, yeah, Vietnam has asserted its control back into South China. And Myanmar. So, yeah. Welcome back, peak Vietnam. The Philippines are fine, though. And, as a matter of fact, they actually just unify the full island. Which hasn't happened, but... Hasn't happened in WICSO, but has to happen here because... Yeah. Which reminds me, too. The Indonesian... The remains of Indonesia unites with Indonesia Unitaria. And then whatever remains of, Actually... Spain in and of itself is fine here. I think they still have Madrid. Hold up. Yeah, they still have Madrid, barely. It's only Portugal that, yeah. Welcome to, Galicia and Unitaria, Portugal. Seems like you didn't really have much of a choice. I really do mean seems like. So, yeah. With that being said, we do have some other things happening. Like, Canada Unitaria. What remains of Canada right now is this part, which is significantly where the capital is and all that. But the other part is this part, which is completely disconnected from the rest of Canada. And like, well, Canada can't really rule by itself anymore, so they go ahead and unite with the rest of Canada, Unitarian. They support the idea anyway. Unitarianism has worked in WICSO very well, and with the idea working very well in WICSO, and not them knowing about it, but like they see how prosperous the people are, they're like, okay, maybe it can work in our areas. So yeah, and Portugal was just joining because they were weak. Indonesia was also just joining because they were weak. With that being said, now we see Russia as the only Eastern ideology left in the world after the China's collapse, and like, yeah. So what are they gonna do about that? Well, they're going to expand, of course, and well, these areas fold absolutely quickly. Welcome Belarus and welcome remaining part of Ukraine. Yeah, that means that the score team's against this Russia, which will, as a matter of fact, actually start their own alliance. Heavily surprising, I know. Or is it? Who knows? But they will start their own alliance. That being like the cross team. It's kinda like it's basically just like it's basically like CSTO. Like this is basically what remains of CSTO. So like the countries who join that are Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and well, actually Uzbekistan wasn't a part of it at all, but they're joining it now. So yeah, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, and actually that cross is way too big, so we're gonna fix that. But we see that the Russians get sizable influence in the Chinese regions, specifically over in Xinjiang. And Xinjiang, they already had influence on Mongolia. And then, yeah. In China, meanwhile, they're a democracy. They're experimenting with a different type of thing, too. They're thinking about going Unitarian like these countries. Thinking. And honestly, they're like, why not? And so they do it. Welcome to Unitarianism, China. You were communist before. That's an interesting development from you. But North Korea, back to alliances actually. North Korea, they have no choice. If they want to remain Eastern, they have to align with Russia. It's not going to be as good as when they were with China. They're going to be devastated, and we'll see that. Like, in a war, we'll see that backfire. But for now, that'll end this video because I have to go soon. So, part 2 will come out, I don't know, sometime soon. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in a new video. Peace out.